Welcome to Technically You. Today we're diving into the world of cyber attacks.
Not to scare you, of course.
Right? It's to give you the knowledge to help you stay safe out there. We're going to decode the language of hackers, the tactics, techniques, and procedures. If
What experts call TTPs.
TTPs,
Think of it like learning your opponent's playbook.
oh, I like that. Okay, so once you know their moves,
You can predict them, defend against them, maybe even stay a few steps ahead.
okay, so for our podcast today, we have a fantastic references and we'll be using some really fascinating real world examples.
Absolutely.
Are you ready to unmask some cyber threats?
Let's do it.
Okay, so TTPs, let's break this down. Tactics are the attacker's goals. What are they trying to achieve, right? Techniques are the methods they use to get to those goals.
Right.
And then the procedures are the specific steps they take to execute those methods.
Exactly. So, for example, let's say an attacker wants to get higher level access within a system.
Okay,
So that's their tactic. We call that privilege escalation.
so the technique would be like exploiting some vulnerability in a software program.
Right? And the procedure could be something super specific, like sending a phishing email that has a malicious attachment.
Okay,
And when that attachment is opened, it installs malware, giving that attacker unauthorized access. And so you might,
so it's like a domino effect, tactic, technique, procedure, and then boom, the attacker might get what they want.
you got it.
Oh, this is making so much more sense now. To really understand it, though, we need to see it in action.
Absolutely. And our documents give us some great examples.
Okay, perfect.
They highlight 3 major cyber attacks that really show the diversity of tactics and techniques that attackers use.
Okay, so let's start with Volt Typhoon. I'm intrigued by the name already.
This was a Chinese state-sponsored espionage campaign. Their tactic, not surprisingly, was espionage and data exfiltration.
Espionage. Wow. But what makes this one so unique?
Their technique is pretty fascinating.
Okay.
They use something called living off the land attacks. So instead of installing their own malware, they use the built-in Windows tools that are already on the target system.
Oh, that's sneaky. So it's like blending in, making it really hard to detect. What about the procedures? How do they actually carry out the attack?
They've been known to use stolen credentials and remote desktop tools to move around the network undetected.
Wow. Okay, now on to example number 2.
BlackCat, also known as AlphaV.
Okay.
This group is all about ransomware. Their tactic, double extortion.
Ooh, double extortion. That sounds bad.
Yeah, so they encrypt your files, locking you out, and then they threaten to leak the data if you don't pay the ransom.
Double trouble. I'm guessing stolen credentials play a role here too.
You guessed it. Once they get access, they disable security tools, encrypt your files, and then they demand payment, usually in cryptocurrency.
And okay, that's pretty ruthless. Attacking on 2 fronts like that. All right, last but not least, we have Royal Ransomware, another very catchy name.
Yeah, their tactic is straight up financial extortion through ransomware.
Okay, explain what you mean by that.
They use a bunch of techniques. One is phishing emails,
Okay,
exploiting vulnerabilities in something called the Remote Desktop Protocol, RDP.
wait, exploiting vulnerabilities in RDP. Can you break that down for me?
Sure, RDP is a protocol that allows you to connect to another computer remotely. But if there's a weakness in how RDP is set up, attackers can exploit that weakness to get into your system.
Gotcha. So how does Royal Ransomware actually carry out their attack once they have access?
That's where it gets interesting. They often use legitimate Windows tools like PowerShell
Okay.
to execute their malware.
So again, it's almost like a disguise, making their activities seem less suspicious. So looking at all 3 of these examples, what's the biggest takeaway? What should I focus on here?
I think the biggest takeaway is the sheer diversity of tactics and techniques. Cyber attackers are always changing their methods, finding creative ways to get what they want.
It's like they're always one step ahead. So how do we even begin to defend ourselves against these evolving threats?
Well, that's where cybersecurity's frameworks come in.
Okay.
Think of them like a toolkit for analyzing and mitigating these threats.
Okay, so if TTPs are the attacker's playbook, these frameworks are the defender's game plan.
You got it.
Okay.
And one of the most powerful tools in that toolkit is the MITRE ATT&CK Framework. It's like this massive database of attacker behaviors, all categorized and mapped out for analysis.
So instead of just reacting to attacks, we can use this framework to predict their next move.
Exactly. It allows you to be proactive, strengthen your defenses based on real-world data.
That's amazing. And this MITRE ATT&CK framework covers lots of environments, right? Not just computers, but also phones.
It covers various environments, enterprise networks, mobile devices, even cloud environments.
So it's pretty comprehensive technically. You also mentioned the Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain and the NIST cybersecurity framework. Are these similar?
They are. The cyber kill chain breaks down a cyber attack into 7 stages, okay? Helping you understand the attacker's thought process. And the NIST cybersecurity framework provides standards, best practices for managing cybersecurity risk.
So it's like we have this whole arsenal of tools at our disposal. I'm starting to feel a lot more empowered.
That's the goal. These frameworks are all about turning what seems like this chaotic world of cyber threats into something more manageable.
They give us a way to understand and respond to these threats instead of just playing this never-ending game of whack-a-mole. But how does all this apply to me, someone who's not a cybersecurity expert?
Well, understanding TTPs isn't just for tech experts. It's for everyone. In today's world, we're all potential targets. We use our devices for everything.
Banking, shopping, communicating, even controlling our homes. It does make you feel kind of vulnerable knowing that.
That's understandable. But remember, knowledge is power. Even a basic understanding of TTPs can go a long way.
I know we mentioned these actions on multiple podcasts, but they are always worth repeating, like being able to recognize those phishing attempts you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Those emails or messages that trick you into giving up sensitive information like passwords, credit card numbers.
Those are the ones that try to make you panic and act quickly, right?
Right. They might say your account's been compromised or you need to update your info right away. But remember, always double check the sender's address, hover over links before you click them, and never, ever give out sensitive information unless you're absolutely sure it's legitimate.
That's a really good point. I've almost fallen for those before. What else should I look out for? Are there other things I can do to protect myself?
Well, another common tactic is exploiting vulnerabilities in software. That's why it's so important to keep your operating system, apps, antivirus software up to date.
I have to admit, I sometimes ignore them.
Well, those updates often contain patches that fix the security holes attackers could exploit.
Think of them as your digital bodyguard. Good advice. What about public Wi-Fi? I use free Wi-Fi all the time. Should I be worried?
Public Wi-Fi can be risky, okay? A lot of times these networks are unsecured, which means your data could be intercepted. If you're using public Wi-Fi, try to avoid accessing sensitive stuff like bank accounts.
Okay, good to know. I never really thought about that. Anything else I can do to be extra cautious?
You could consider using a reliable VPN,
Okay.
which encrypts your internet traffic
Yes, making my connection more secure.
and making it harder for attackers to snoop.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm already learning so much from this conversation. It's great to understand these tactics and know what I can do to protect myself. So, what are the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember from this first part of our discussion?
I think first and foremost, remember that cyber attackers are using these diverse and always evolving tactics.
Okay.
But by understanding their TTPs, we can anticipate their moves and defend ourselves better.
Got it.
And those cybersecurity frameworks like MITRE ATT&CK, they can help us understand those tactics and make those smart decisions about our security.
And it's not just for security professionals, it's for everybody. By being aware of these tactics, we can all take simple steps to protect ourselves every day.
Exactly. Being a savvy digital citizen and taking control of your own cybersecurity.
I love that. This has been incredibly insightful already. I can't wait to dive even deeper into these cybersecurity frameworks and learn even more about how they can empower us.
Me too. There's so much more to explore. I think our listeners will be fascinated by what we uncover next.
So we've seen how these attackers use TTPs, but how do these cybersecurity frameworks actually help defenders? They sound pretty complex,
They can be, but think of them as a detective's toolkit.
like a magnifying glass in fingerprint dust for cyber threats.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful tools in that kit is the MITRE ATT&CK Framework.
Okay.
It's like a giant database of known attacker behaviors, all categorized and mapped out.
So instead of just reacting to attacks, we can use this framework to understand what the attacker's doing and even predict their next move. That's incredible.
You got it. It's all about being proactive, not reactive. And what's really useful is that the MITRE ATT&CK Framework covers all sorts of environments,
Oh, okay.
not just like traditional computer networks, but also mobile devices, cloud platforms.
So whether I'm on my laptop, my phone, or using cloud services, this framework can help keep me safe. That's a huge relief.
Absolutely. Now let's take a look at other frameworks that are worth exploring. The Lockheed Martin Cyber Kill Chain and the NIST Cybersecurity Framework.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
How do those fit into our detective's toolkit?
The Cyber Kill Chain breaks down a cyber attack into 7 stages.
Okay.
From the initial reconnaissance phase, where the attacker is gathering information, all the way to the final stage, where they achieve their objective. This helps us understand the attacker's mindset and identify weak points in our defenses.
So it's like mapping out the entire attack path.
Precisely. And then there's the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, which is more about establishing best practices and guidelines for managing cybersecurity risk.
Okay.
It's a really valuable resource for organizations, looking to build and implement their security programs.
So it's less about analyzing specific attacks and more about setting up a strong defense overall.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about creating a culture of cybersecurity.
I love that this is all making a lot more sense now, but I have to admit, I'm still a little overwhelmed. It's a lot to take in.
I understand it can feel like drinking from a fire hose at times, but that's why these frameworks are so important.
Okay.
They provide structure and clarity
Okay.
in what can often feel like this chaotic world of cyber threats.
It's like having a roadmap to guide you through a dangerous jungle.
Absolutely. Cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility.
Okay. That wraps up our discussion into the world of cyber threats. I hope everyone listening found this as helpful as I did.
Remember, cybersecurity is a journey. It never really ends. We all need to stay aware and adapt to new threats as they come up.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to share this with your friends and family. We can all play a part in making the digital world a safer place for everyone.
Thanks for joining us. And until next time, stay curious.